Alright, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Anime Iceberg. I'm Megan.
And I'm Meg.
And today we have a very special bonus episode. We watched Moriarty the Patriot, and if you listen to us on our regular episodes, you probably heard us mention it quite a bit. So we decided to make an episode talking all about it.
Yep. Yeah, we just had some thoughts to share, and if you're not familiar with the anime, you should definitely check it out. It's basically about Sherlock Holmes' nemesis, Moriarty, James Moriarty.
William James Moriarty, this one.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, because this show took James Moriarty and was like, actually, it's three brothers. William James Moriarty, Albert James Moriarty, and Louis James Moriarty. Plus their gang of misfits and all of the things. You know, it's just one of those, I don't want to root for the villains, but now I have to because I've seen their backstory. It's a very morally gray show, but I enjoyed watching it a lot. And actually, my friend Ellie when I told her I was watching it, she just like slapped me and went, "About time! I've been telling you for like 4 years to watch this show. Come on!" But I think watching it now was the best because, I've since consumed some more Sherlock-related media.
Yeah, we just thought we'd just talk about some of our favorite things about it and just our overall thoughts. First, just the mystery aspect. They did a lot of, Sherlock Holmes mysteries, but they, changed them a little bit and had Moriarty actually involved, because in a lot of them, he's not really in the original Sherlock Holmes, that much.
No, very small percentage of the stories. In fact, I read the first volume you've got of Sherlock Holmes that you let me borrow. He wasn't in any of those. Mm-hmm. But they also changed some of the stories to be more reflectant on British high society at the time. Because some of those Sherlock Holmes stories, like the first one, Study in Scarlet, with that one, the guy that they caught at the end, he's actually American. And there was this whole thing about the Wild West and where he traveled and, Mormons and definitely American things. And there's another story that involves the KKK, I think. Mm-hmm. So everything in Moriarty, they took out most of the American nonsense and replaced it with nobles being jerks and horrible and not fulfilling their obligations to the common folk and poverty-stricken regions of Great Britain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I would say, maybe it's because I've seen enough Sherlock, but the mysteries, for the most part, were I think this is what's happening, and then it was what was happening. And you also, because you're seeing it from, a lot of it from, Moriarty's perspective, you're also seeing what's happening.
Yeah, you're kind of behind the curtain for a lot of it.
Yeah. So, the mysteries are good, but they're not, from, all Sherlock Holmes mysteries that I've seen, they're not, the most, wow, this is crazy.
And when watching this show, you're not in it for the mysteries, because more or less, if you're a fan of Sherlock, you know how this is going to play out. You're in it more for, the social commentary and the moral ambiguity, I would say.
Yeah.
I guess going right into the first episode, even, it's an anime original. I guess at this point I should say I tried keeping up with the manga, but I got to either volume 4 or 5, and then the library just stopped carrying them, and I can't find the subsequent volumes for the life of me. I know they're still going, and they're really good. I would say if you want to check out the manga, though, it does get more graphic than the show, but there's a lot more depth to it, and you get to see more of the characters' backstories, because obviously the anime is finished, and they are not making more, to my knowledge. Mm-hmm. It finished very well, so I don't want them to make more. But yeah, there's so much more to the manga, and I really, really want to get my grubby little hands on it so I can finish. But the manga starts with the boys when they were kids, and how their journey got started, and why they do the things they do. But the first episode in the anime, and I actually thought they did this really well, was just a one-off story about one of Moriarty's cases, and how he's a crime consultant. And it really just introduces you to the whole concept of this guy is trying to be a patriot, and he's trying to do good things, but he's also in the process doing horrible things in the name of justice. and what's right and wrong is presented to you on a silver platter, but then it all gets mixed up, and then by the end of the episode you're like, well, I'm not sure how I feel about this now.
Yeah, it's definitely like two wrongs don't make a right, but do they? kind of show. Yeah, well, the first episode, at least in the anime, it's like I would say the darkest, most, I don't know necessarily darkest, but like most graphic episode, and you're like, whoa, is this what the whole show's gonna be like? And then it's like not really like that.
That's what the whole manga is like, apparently.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, basically Moriarty, his vision is to destroy the aristocrats and make it more
democracy.
Yeah. He's trying to make a democracy and so that the poor can have a better life.
Yeah.
I mean, that's his basic goal. And so he's trying to bring down. He's not necessarily trying to bring down the monarchy, I think, because he like never went like after the queen or anything, but just like the power that the aristocrats have.
Yes, and they do reference the French Revolution quite a bit within the show, and they're kind of like making a point of saying what worked, what didn't, how do we truly change society? And that was what Moriarty was aiming at. He's like, to truly change it, you have to change it from the inside. You can't just start at the top. You can't overthrow the monarchy and expect everything to be great, because if you overthrow the current governing system, then everything's going to go into anarchy and chaos. He's more about like making the nobles realize what they're doing wrong, but also kind of culling the nobles that are who he views as irredeemable.
Yeah.
Which, that's the part I don't agree with. Like, somebody may be too far gone, but that doesn't mean you just off them.
Yeah, that's not your job to off them. Like, that's...
In fact, I think the most poignant part of the show was at the very end when Sebastian Moran, one of their crew members, I don't get why he just didn't do this from the start, but he's a wonderful public speaker apparently, and there's this moment where he's trying to get the nobles to help the commoners because a fire breaks out in the city, and he has this great speech about, well, who do you think is going to suffer the most if all of us, are gone? It's you, because you depend on us, and in turn we should depend on you. And there's a phrase they use, like, noblesse oblige or something like that, like the obligation of the nobility to help society as a whole, including the common people. And his words get through to him in a way that nothing else would, so there are non-violent ways to change the current system.
Yeah, no, I think, like, overall, like, Moriarty's mission was, like, a good one. But, like he had good intentions, but just, like, the way he took things into his own hands. Like, he was, like, almost like, I'm above society and I know what's right.
I am the law.
Like, and it's like, yeah, dude, you're smart, but there's a reason why we don't have just one dude making decisions. I mean, in their case, I was gonna say, even England doesn't actually have that. Like, they have their monarch, but they have their parliament.
Yeah.
And, like,
other officials.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing about the Moriarty family is their family crest. I might butcher this pronunciation because it's French, but it's like je crois en moi or something like that. I looked up the meaning. It means I believe in myself. So basically their whole family is like, we stick to our convictions no matter what. That all starts to crumble as the show goes on, but that's kind of what needed to happen, I think. Because William, at least, was like taking his beliefs to the grave, basically. But his friends, two of them in particular, by the end were like, we don't want to see that happen. Like, you can believe in yourself, you can want to die for your beliefs, but that doesn't mean you have to. Yeah. I liked the Moriarty family overall. Well, okay. Albert was your favorite character.
At first, in like the first episode, I was like, I like this dude, and then I saw his backstory, like his part that he played, and I was like,
maybe not.
Yeah, and even just like throughout the whole thing, like he, like in the end, he was like, yeah, go ahead, Liam, like die, and where like Lewis and Fred were like, no, like that's not that's not the right way to do things. So he is, like, to me, out of everyone, he was the closest to, like, having no soul. Like,
yeah, he valued the mission over friends and family and himself too, I would say.
Yeah.
Another thing we loved was the intros and outros for the show were bangers, and I'm really sad there's no English versions we can sing along to. But it was cool because the outros both were by Stereodive Foundation, I think, and one was Alpha and one was Omega. So you can tell they go together. Maybe they were even written for the show, because it seemed like Dying Wish and Twisted Hearts were made for the show, just given what the lyrics seem to be about, like, changing society and setting a trap to catch the thieves and whatever.
I also really liked, so obviously it is about the Moriartys, but a good chunk of it does focus on Sherlock and Watson.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. Like, I did think it was gonna be like, oh, Sherlock's just showing up, but then he kind of became...
He was the main.
He kind of was, like, the main character for the majority, for a lot of it. And he like, played a pivotal role in Moriarty's plan, because he became, like, the...
Well, Moriarty had him as, like, the hero. He's like, I'm gonna make you the hero of the story, and I'm gonna be the villain, and this is how it's gonna play out. And he even, like, Watson, he was even like, oh, yeah, somebody to write the story. Perfect. Because if you read the original Sherlock Holmes, Watson, it's all told from his perspective. It's like, let me tell you about my weird roommate.
Yep. It's good. And I also really appreciated, like, Lewis's. He hated Sherlock so much, and it was like, amazing.
My favorite part was when Sherlock, he gives William a nickname. He's like, okay, Liam, and Lewis is just like, Liam? What?
I love you, like, immediate, like they, like, meet on the train for the first time, and he, like grabs a butter knife.
He's like, I'm gonna kill him.
Ready to kill him.
He's ready to go.
I was like, dude, slow down. Like, he, like...
Well, he knows Sherlock is the only one smart enough to go toe-to-toe with William.
Yeah. It's pretty good. So I really appreciate that. Like, he just, like, I think he was a younger brother, but just, like, the overprotective, like...
Well, you can tell William is everything to him. That's his only real family he has left, and also the person who's taken care of him his whole life. And he just wants to do everything within his power to protect him and make sure he has the support he needs.
Yeah. I like them. I'd love to know more of their backstory. Like,
I want to know William's real name.
Yeah, and, like, where they... Like, before they met Albert, like...
Yeah. Because apparently they were camping out in a library or something like that, and that's how they got so smart. It was pretty cool how this show, it was kind of like... It's a separate artist and author for the manga, I know that, but obviously on the covers of the manga it says based on the works by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, so it's just a love letter to Sherlock Holmes, and I think they really did nail Sherlock's character. Like, every iteration of Sherlock has kind of the same personality, but in this case I think they got it one step further, like one step closer to being accurate, because Sherlock definitely is like the I could care less about what society thinks of me, but he also has a heart, he has a soul, and, like, a very good moral compass. And so I think in this show they really emphasized how much of one he does have, and the struggles that he had to face with going up against Moriarty, and, like, all the things he had to deal with that. But this show also is unique in the fact that it brought in other characters like James Bond and Jack the Ripper, and then they had this whole thing with MI6 and Queen Victoria too.
Yeah, they brought out... I like that, because you're like, oh man, I know that.
Yeah, when Irene was like, Bond, James Bond, I think we flipped our lids a little bit.
Yeah, that was so good. And then, like, Jack the Ripper, I can't remember... I don't think they actually listed real victims? Real suspects. The victims, I don't know, did they name... I don't think they named them. I don't know that they listed real suspects, because they were just like, oh, it's... I think they tried to blame... I can't even remember who they tried to blame. But anyway, doesn't matter. Yeah, I liked that kind of bringing in pieces of history and other pieces of fiction and stuff.
Yeah.
It was cool. Yeah. And then also, like, another reason that we really liked Sherlock was at the end when he kind of messes up. I don't know. Like, he's really trying to protect Watson.
Yes. He does something which we've seen him do in, like, the BBC show and, like, the other... I think this happens in every version of him, but, basically, to protect Watson and his soon-to-be wife, Mary, Sherlock kills a man, and Sherlock has never taken a life before. And even Moriarty is torn up about it, because he's like, once you take one life, it's a slippery slope. I don't want him to turn into that man. Mm-hmm. But Watson really gives him an earful. Sherlock ends up not getting arrested because the body's never found, and if there's no body, there's no crime, and all that stuff. But Watson knows he did it, and he knows he did it for him, specifically, so he does the right thing and gives Sherlock kind of, like, the cold shoulder, like, until you realize that was wrong, I cannot talk to you, and you have to, like, we have to have some distance here so you can reflect on this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then Sherlock gives, like, the most, honestly, I think it might be, like, the best apology in fiction history. Yeah, in fiction that I have.
Yeah, no, I think so too.
Yeah, and it was long, but we wrote down the whole thing.
Yes. Should I do it with an accent?
Probably not. You can if you want, but...
I ask your forgiveness, please. Though it was extreme, I based my decision on what I thought would benefit you the most. I admit I wasn't concerned with the consequences I would face. But a little more thought, no, much more thought, should have gone into this. Just as I have a need for you, I forgot you have a need for me. As long as we share that bond, I should be more aware of how my actions affect you. From now on, I'll handle myself better. I promise.
Man, after he said that, I did not tear up, but I was like, oh
I
my
forgive you. I forgive you. Give me a hug.
Yeah, just like he got everything right in an apology.
Yeah. You state why you did what you did, why you know it was wrong. You sincerely ask for forgiveness, and you say what you're going to do to change it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There were also 2 extra episodes, OVAs, which were that was entertaining.
Yeah, they were entertaining.
The first one especially, where they had to find, like, the cause of the painter's death, because it wasn't a murder. It was more than that.
It was like the one mystery that they solved that was, like, actually, like, oh.
Yeah, and a noble sweet. Who wasn't corrupt, and Sherlock and William working together, and Lewis giving more hate to Sherlock, and Watson being there too, and just there for the ride. And also, one of my favorite jokes that I've ever made came from... There's a scene where they're in a bathhouse, because they're in the town of Bath, or Bath, as they say. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it's different from modern bathhouses. Everyone has, like, the pantaloons, and the ladies are basically fully dressed.
Yeah. Well, because it's
mixed. It's like a pool, basically. But Sherlock and William end up sitting next to each other, and I just go... 2 gents chilling in a bathhouse.
Yes, it was pretty good.
The second one was just them hosting a tea party. That one was for giggles. It was just a goofy one.
Yeah, that one was just a goofy one, but it was something that I had been wondering about, because I was like, they're all, like, eligible men in that society.
And the women were just, like, trying to pounce on them, because if you were a woman in that time period, it's like, I need to find a suitor, like, now, or my position in society is gone.
Yeah.
It was kind of sweet, though, because, like, all of the guys, the girls were just like, oh, he's so, and oh, he's so, and, like, all of them were getting targeted, but they shuffled Lewis off into the kitchen. They're like, you can oversee the servants. We don't want you to deal with this crud.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, and then finally we wanted to talk about the ending, which honestly, I thought it was a good ending.
Yeah.
Like, and it's different than other Sherlock Holmes mysteries, because I think Moriarty does actually die.
Yep.
Where in this one he doesn't, and it's kind of funny because it's like if you've watched. We just watched the first Sherlock Holmes movie with RDJ, and it's like a very similar scene where they're
down the bridge.
Yeah, on the bridge, and then they falls off. Well, I guess.
Well, he doesn't fall into the water. He
yeah.
gets stopped.
Yeah, but anyway, it was I was like, oh, this is a different scenario, but same place.
Yeah.
And I liked Sherlock trying to save him, and then the end where you see that he's actually alive, and it's just two best buds.
My favorite part of that scene was like, well, Moriarty's basically like, there's no atoning for what I've done, let me die, and Sherlock's like, you're taking the coward's way out, and he's like, no, this is how it has to be. So William's very adamant that he has to die, and he's gonna fall off the bridge and basically let himself drown. Like, he could survive if he fell, but he's gonna, but he jumps, and Sherlock just jumps right after him, not a moment of hesitation. And you see when he dives into the air so he catches up with him, he cradles his head and like hugs him like he's gonna do anything in his power to protect this guy. And they plunge into the water, and Moriarty's like smiling because he's like, I actually have somebody who's gonna look out for me.
I have a friend.
Yep. So basically faking his death, almost like witness protection, and he moves to a different country. But you can see that his friends and family are doing everything within their power to keep the legacy going. Like, Irene and Fred and Sebastian are assisting Jack in, like, I think getting aid to the poor and helping rebuild. Albert's still within the military, or the upper ranks.
He's garbage, but
and then my favorite thing, Lewis gets to be head of
MI6.
They started it, and he's the head. And it's a beautiful scene because he finally, like, puts his hair back and takes off his glasses so that his scar is fully visible.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
He's not hiding anymore.
Good. Yeah. Yeah, and then we thought we'd share our favorite characters.
Yeah. I liked all of them. It is really hard to pick a favorite, but Fred is just the cutest little thing ever, and I really like him because I think it's one of those situations where, because he's younger, out of the mouths of babes, as they say, he's able to kind of bring a little bit of innocence into the group, and he was the one really pulling for, like, we need to make sure that William comes out of this alive. Like, he was willing to do a lot for the mission, but he wasn't willing to sacrifice lives for the mission.
Yeah, well, I think that's not totally true. Because originally they were all ready
to give their lives for the cause. But as the plan progressed, he's like, "But do we?"
I think he was okay with all of them
but not just William.
But then after he found out, that it was just gonna be William, he was like,
there was something, I can't remember if this was also in the anime or if it was just in the manga. But Fred did have a line of like, "What separates us from the guys we're against? Because we're killing too." And they said, well, the difference is we're willing to die for our beliefs, and they're not. I think
he did say something like that.
So Fred, from the beginning, he was the one who's, like, trying to reason out, like, what are we doing and why is it right? So, yeah, just having a character who not questioned William, but questioned their ideals was very important to the storyline. That, and I just love his little blue scarf, and he's just a sweetie pie. So, call me biased, but I love those cuties.
Yep. And I really liked Sherlock. I think he was my favorite. I don't know. I do really like the BBC version of Sherlock, but I just, in this one, I do appreciate that he shows that he cares in more and in a better way, I think.
Yes.
And also he's just, like, there to have fun, and I kind of love that.
Yep.
Yeah. So he was my favorite. And yeah, we've been on quite the. We watched all of the BBC version of Sherlock Holmes. Okay, wait.
All of the ones that matter.
Okay, yeah, we skipped season 4 because if you've watched it, you know how garbage it is. So we were just like, oh, we'll just skip that. So we watched everything that mattered. And then we watched the first Sherlock Holmes movie.
Yep. And like I said, I read the first volume. And there was also a fully colored manga version of A Study in Scarlet that I picked up just to flip through. It was pretty entertaining. It was by... There's this manga company, it's like... I think it's called Manga Classics, but they basically turn books like Sherlock Holmes, Scarlet Letter, Huckleberry Finn into manga style, so it's pretty fun. You should look them up. They're all pretty good.
Yeah. So anyway, we've consumed a lot of Sherlock, yeah. and I would say, I think for me, like, character wise, this was probably my favorite version, but then like mystery wise, BBC.
Oh yeah,
was my favorite for
sure.
Well,
it's also new takes on it because it's set in modern times. Yeah. I like having the modern spin on it, but I do like seeing that time period of history. It does leave a lot open for the case. Like, there's a lot more possibility when it's old, because even when we're watching the Robert Downey Jr. one, I'm like, this case would have been solved like an hour before he solved it in modern times, because we have all this tech and we have all the things, all the tools needed to solve cases like that really fast, and it wouldn't be as fun. But you have to work around that in the BBC show. But in like the ones actually set in, Victorian times, it's like, oh, but they didn't know that yet, so how did they find out? It adds another layer.
Yeah, I would say that the movie version is very like action, like he's an action hero. yeah. He also is a detective, but there's a lot of explosions and hand-to-hand combat and
injuries.
Yeah. But I enjoy that version too, and I honestly, like, every iteration of Sherlock is just like, they do a good
he's a beloved character, and they every version does their best to be like, we're gonna stick to the nature of Sherlock. Yeah, they get him pretty on the nose, and I think he's like one of the most beloved and famous characters in all of history. Like, because you think, like, anytime you like see another detective like Elle and Rampo and they're all compared to Sherlock. You always just like automatically compare them to Sherlock. Like, well, to the point where like having that houndstooth cap and the magnifying glass, that's synonymous with detectives, and that's Sherlock. Yeah. It's great. But I really like this take because it is focused on Moriarty. Yes. And he's actually, usually he's always just, like, doing crimes. Yeah. Because he likes the fun of it and the chase and the intricacies. And he's like, legitimately just, like, a bad dude. Yeah. But in this, he's not, Something I love from the manga is they'll have, like, these roughly done bonus, like, little panels in the back of just fun stories that have nothing to do with the canon story. And one of them is Lewis finding a picture of what Moriarty is depicted as in the original books. And he's like, brother, who is this? He's a middle-aged man who's a professor. And, like, he's balding and he doesn't look anything like you. What is this? Yep. And William's just like, oh yeah, he's barely in any of the stories. Like, I can't remember what he said the ratio was, but less than 10% of the stories, but he made that much of an impact. That's just like Irene. Yeah, exactly. Everyone puts Irene in Sherlock Holmes, even though she was in one story. Yeah. And they always make something romantic out of it, even though Sherlock was like, out of all the women I've met, I have no interest in them, but if I did, it would have been her. And that one statement makes everyone go, ooh, saucy, let's make this a very intricate love story. Yeah. Even though Sherlock's, like, not romantically inclined whatsoever. Yeah, I would say in this version, they really didn't lean into the romance. No, it was more of like oh, I'm developing a real relationship with this person. Nothing comes of it. You could take it as romantic at some points, but I think more so at the end of the day, he was like, wow, this is a girl I actually care about. And now I'm getting more people in my life who I care about, like Irene, like Watson, and like Miss Hudson, who was amazing in this. She was great. She's always great, but in this one especially, I was like, yes. Yeah. All right. I think that was all of our thoughts on Moriarty the Patriot. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Although we definitely just spoiled it, so... Well... yeah. But there's so much more that we didn't say, so watch it for yourself. All right. Bye. Bye.